My dear friend, today I want to sit down with you and talk about something you may have heard about in passing, but perhaps never really took the time to reflect on prostate cancer. I know just hearing the word cancer might already stir a little anxiety in your heart, a sense of unease. It's like a dark cloud suddenly drifting across a clear blue sky. But I want you not to be afraid too quickly. Let me share with you, through more than 30 years of experience working in cancer research in a major hospital in the United States, where I have met thousands of men, fathers, husbands, grandfathers, who walked into my office with eyes filled with both hope and fear. You may ask yourself, what exactly is prostate cancer? Is it the same as prostate enlargement that I often hear other men talk about? Why do some people live healthy lives into their 90s while others are diagnosed with cancer so early? I remember one morning not long ago, a patient of mine, his name was Richard, 68 years old, a retired engineer, walked into my clinic. He sat down inside. "Doctor, I always thought I was healthy. I still play golf every week. I still walk with my wife around the park. But then just because of a routine checkup, they found my PSA was high, and now here I am sitting in front of you." Have you ever felt like Richard, feeling that you were fine, healthy, and then one sheet of paper with test results is enough to make your heart sink? This happens very often, and it shows us a truth. Prostate cancer is usually quiet, silent. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't cause severe pain at the beginning. It doesn't rush you into the emergency room right away. It's like a tiny seed lying still in the garden, waiting for the right condition to sprout. And only when it grows big enough do we really pay attention to it. But before we go deeper, I want you to imagine this. You're sitting in your kitchen on a quiet morning. Sunlight pours gently through the window. On the table sits a steaming cup of coffee. You think of your family, of the years that have passed, of the plans still waiting to be fulfilled. In that moment, you suddenly realize your body is like your beloved home. It has walked with you all these years. But if you don't pay attention, small cracks can build up, and one day the wall will break, the roof will leak. Prostate cancer is like that too. It's a tiny crack many people ignore. And if not detected early, that crack can shake the entire house of your health. I have met people who came to me when the disease had already advanced. They said, if only I had gone for a checkup earlier, if only I had paid attention to my body, if only I hadn't been so careless. Those words, if only, are heavy, and I don't want you to ever have to say them. Science has proven that prostate cancer is the most common cancer in men over 50 in the United States. Every year, more than 250,000 new cases are diagnosed. But here's what matters: if it's detected early, the 5-year survival rate is over 95%. That number means early detection not only saves your life, but gives you more time. Time to walk with your partner, to see your grandchildren grow, to finish the things you still dream about. Have you ever thought about that? That just one routine checkup, just one small blood test, could buy you 10 more years of life. Another patient of mine, his name was Joe, 72, once said something I'll never forget. "Doctor, thanks to you, I had more time to walk my granddaughter to school, to see her wear her graduation gown. If I had skipped that appointment, I wouldn't be sitting here today." Stories like these are the reason I believe sharing about prostate cancer is not just a professional duty, but a deeply human mission. You may ask, so is prostate cancer really different from prostate enlargement? The condition so many older men have, I will analyze that in detail later. But right now, I just want you to understand, not every enlargement of the prostate is cancer. Some are benign, some are malignant. And our task is to distinguish early so we don't miss the golden opportunity. Prostate cancer does not only affect one organ in the body, it also affects the mind, the happiness of a family, the confidence of a man. Some of my patients once shared, "Doctor, I'm not as afraid of dying as I am of living without the strength and dignity I used to have." Those words struck me deeply. Illness doesn't just harm the body, it tests the spirit. But you know, in those moments of trial, I have also witnessed extraordinary resilience. Some men at 75 still smiled, still planted flowers in their gardens after radiation therapy. Some once cried on their hospital beds and then got up step by step to regain their strength. And I learned from them that health doesn't only come from medicine, but from faith, from family love, from the will not to give up. When I tell you about prostate cancer, I don't want you to just hear it like a dry medical lecture. I want you to feel it as a real-life story, the story of millions of men like you, like fathers, brothers, friends around you. And if you are 50, 60, or 70, then this story is also your story. So on this journey, I will walk with you to understand how prostate cancer is different from benign enlargement, why it forms, how dangerous it is, who is at high risk, and most importantly, how we can prevent it through food, exercise, and screening. And if unfortunately diagnosed, what treatments are effective and where the hope lies beyond the storm. But before we dive deeper, let me ask you something. Have you ever promised yourself that you would take care of your health so you can live longer with your loved ones? And are you truly keeping that promise, or are you still postponing it? I hope that after hearing this story, you will find the motivation to turn that promise into action. Because health is not a luxury. It's right in your hands, in every meal, every step, every checkup. And above all, it's in your decision. The decision that you want to live healthy, live long, and live fully. So how do we tell the difference between prostate cancer and benign prostatic hyperplasia? My dear friend, let's go deeper into a question I know many men have often wondered. Is prostate cancer really different from prostate enlargement? This question is not just about medicine, it's also about peace of mind. Because many men, when told by their doctor that their prostate has grown immediately, think, oh no, it must be cancer. And then they panic, lose sleep, and live in constant fear. I want you to take a deep breath, calm yourself, and walk with me step by step. A real story from my clinic. A few years ago, I met a patient named Michael, 63 years old. He came in with a worried face and said, "Doctor, lately I've been having trouble urinating. The stream is weak. I wake up several times at night. I searched online and found these symptoms match prostate cancer. I'm sure I'm dying." Do you see yourself in that story? When something feels wrong, we search the internet, and instead of reassurance, we often find fear. After examining and doing an ultrasound, I told him, "Michael, you don't have cancer. You only have benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH. It's very common in men after 50. It's bothersome, yes, but it's not cancer." At that moment, he breathed a sigh of relief. Tears rolled down and he smiled. "Really, doctor? Then I still have time to take my wife on that trip." That story stays with me. It reminds me that the role of a doctor is not only to treat disease, but also to ease fear in a patient's heart. What is BPH? Imagine your prostate as a walnut sitting just below the bladder, wrapping around the urethra, the tube that carries urine out. When you're young, the prostate is small, quietly doing its job. But as you age like an old tree, it grows too much. That's BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia. At least BPH is not cancer. It does not spread, it does not metastasize, it does not directly kill. But it causes troubles, difficulty urinating, weak stream, frequent nighttime urination, sometimes urinary retention. Statistics show about 50% of men over 50 have BPH, and by age 85, up to 90% do. Live long enough and you will likely face it. What about prostate cancer? That's a different story. Cancer is uncontrolled growth of prostate cells. Furthermore, these cells stop doing their job, start multiplying, invading, even spreading to bones, lymph nodes, lungs. So for an warn, the danger is early stages often show no symptoms. Men may still urinate, normally live normally until the disease has advanced. And because the early symptoms, weak stream, frequent urination, overlap, many confuse BPH with cancer. Similarities and differences. Think of your house's water pipe. If the pipe is narrowed by buildup, the flow weakens. That's like BPH, a mechanical blockage. Annoying, but it doesn't ruin the whole system. Cancer is like a tumor growing in the wall itself, blocking and also spreading, damaging the foundation. Similarities. Both BPH and cancer can cause lower urinary symptoms. Differences. If however BPH is benign, does not spread. Cancer is malignant, can spread. BPH is almost universal with age. Cancer is less common but far more dangerous. BPH often needs only medicine or simple surgery. Cancer requires complex treatment, surgery, radiation, chemotherapy. Another patient, the danger of confusion. I recall George, 70 years old. He had trouble urinating for years but thought it was just age. His family urged him to see a doctor, but he said it's only BPH, nothing to worry about. When he finally came, it wasn't BPH. It was prostate cancer that had spread to his bones. He sat quietly, voice trembling. "If only I had come sooner, doctor." That question still haunts me. It reminds me that the danger is not just cancer itself, but also complacency. Why must we distinguish clearly? Because confusion leads to two risks. 1. Too much worry. A man with BPH thinks he has cancer, lives in panic, quality of life destroyed. 2. Too much complacency, a man with cancer thinks it's only BPH, misses the golden chance for cure. Today we have the tools to tell the difference. Digital rectal exam DRE, PSA blood test, ultrasound MRI biopsy for confirmation. You see, BPH and prostate cancer are like two visitors knocking at the same house. One is just a nuisance, the other can destroy the home. But both require the host to open the door and pay attention. Life is the same. Some problems are small annoyances, like BPH. But if we obsess, they burden our hearts. Others are truly dangerous, like cancer. But if we dismiss them, we lose our chance to live. So clear distinction, right understanding is the key to peace of mind. Let me ask you, have you ever woken at night going to the bathroom, many times lying awake wondering what's happening inside your body? You're not alone. Millions of men around the world feel the same. And my message to you is don't be afraid, but don't be careless either. Let your doctor help you see clearly what is benign and what is cancer. So what are the different types and forms of prostate cancer? My dear friend, when we mention the phrase prostate cancer, you might think it's just one single disease, one uniform illness that doctors simply label with that familiar name. But in reality, prostate cancer is not such a simple entity. It's like a forest with many kinds of trees. Some grow slowly and stay in one corner, while others grow fast, spread wide, and even damage the whole forest. I want to share with you the details of the different types and forms of prostate cancer, so you can see that understanding them not only helps us know where the disease stands, but also helps us find the right path to face it. A story to begin. I remember clearly a patient named James, 66 years old. When he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, he asked me, "Doctor, which kind do I have? Is it the worst one? I've heard some people live for decades, but others only a few months." That is a very real question, because not all prostate cancers are the same. Some grow so slowly that men in their 80s or 90s live with it and never die from it. But others are aggressive, spreading to bones and lymph nodes within just a few years, leaving patients weakened. That's why understanding the forms of this disease is critically important. 1. Adenocarcinoma, the familiar face. This is the most common type, accounting for more than 95% of prostate cancer cases. It begins in the gland cells, the cells that normally produce fluid to nourish sperm. The interesting and dangerous thing about this type is how silently it grows. Sometimes it's there for years without clear symptoms. We call it indolent prostate cancer. With this type, many men in their 70s or 80s are told, "We'll just monitor you. No treatment needed yet." In fact, research shows that some elderly men die of old age or heart disease, while their prostate cancer simply sat quietly. But adenocarcinoma also has its evil side. Some tumors, though the same type, score high on the Gleason scale and act aggressively. 2. Gleason score, the doctor's secret language. You may have heard of the Gleason score. This is the system doctors use to judge how aggressive the cancer cells are. A low score, Gleason 6, means the cells are still naive, growing slowly. A high score, Gleason 8 or 10, means the cells are angry, ready to invade and spread. I often explain to patients cancers are like people. Some are calm, stay home. Others are hot-headed, always starting fights. Gleason is the measure of the tumor's personality. 3. Small cell carcinoma. This is rare, less than 1% of cases, but extremely aggressive. It grows fast, spreads early, and often doesn't respond to standard hormone treatments. I remember a patient, 59 years old, diagnosed with small cell carcinoma. Within 6 months, it had spread throughout his pelvis. That reminded me sometimes cancer gives us no time to delay. 4. Sarcomas and other rare forms. A few very rare forms like sarcoma or transitional cell carcinoma can also occur in the prostate. They are so rare that many doctors may only see a handful of cases in their lifetime. But rare does not mean harmless. In fact, these rare forms tend to progress quickly and are hard to treat. 5. Stages of prostate cancer. To help you understand better, think of cancer as an uninvited guest. Localized stage. It stays inside the prostate. If found here, cure is almost certain. Tournée, locally advanced stage. It pushes out of the capsule into nearby tissues. Metastatic stage. It travels to bones, lymph nodes, lungs. This is when it becomes most dangerous. One patient once told me cancer is like a bad neighbor. If he stays in his house, it's manageable. But once he tears down the fence and enters my yard, trouble begins. 6. Why does this difference matter? Because it changes everything. It decides whether doctors say just watch or treat right now. It decides whether you need surgery, radiation, or simply pills. It decides your chances of living 5 to 10 more years. Some people despair hearing prostate cancer, but when they learn it's slow growing with a low Gleason score, they regain hope knowing it can be controlled. Others think theirs is mild but discover it's aggressive, and then realize urgent treatment is necessary. A human perspective. Prostate cancer with all its types and grades reminds me of a garden of trees. Some grow gently offering shade. Some grow wild, crowding out the rest. Knowing which tree you are under is the key to deciding how you will live forward. I often ask my patients, do you want to see this disease as a death sentence or as a reminder to live healthier and more meaningfully? And I've seen many choose the second. They exercise, eat better, spend more time with family. Strangely, that change itself helps them live longer, even with cancer. Have you ever thought cancer has only one face? That hearing the word means a death sentence? If so, I want you to change that view. Prostate cancer comes in many forms and many grow very slowly. If found early, you can live well, live long, even outlive men without cancer who neglect their health. So instead of panicking, choose to understand it, recognize it, and act at the right time. So, why does prostate cancer form, and how does it actually develop? My dear friend, after we've learned the difference between prostate enlargement and prostate cancer, and also understood that this disease has many forms and types, the next question in your mind will surely be, why does it form and how does it develop inside our body? This question is both scientific and philosophical, because the human body is a masterpiece, billions of cells working in harmony every day to keep us healthy. And yet sometimes a few cells suddenly become rebels, breaking the rules, and from there a disease called cancer begins. A story to begin, a seed in the garden. Imagine you have a garden in front of your home. In that garden, hundreds of plants grow tended by your care. But one day a strange seed appears. At first it's just a tiny sprout, easy to ignore. But then it grows, spreads, crowds the other plants, even steals the nutrients of the entire garden. That's how cancer forms. And in the case of the prostate, that garden is the small gland just below a man's bladder. It begins with normal cells. The prostate is made mostly of gland cells. Normally, these cells have a clear life cycle. They are born, do their job, and then die when they're old. This process is called apoptosis, programmed cell death. But sometimes, for some reason, a prostate cell refuses to die when it should. Instead of stopping, it keeps dividing, creating new cells that no longer follow the rules. And when this uncontrolled growth continues, a tumor slowly forms. 2. The deeper causes. Why do cells rebel? There are many factors often working together, like keys opening the same lock. A. Genetics and inherited genes. Some men are born with specific genetic mutations. The BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes, known in breast cancer, also play a role in prostate cancer. If your father or brother had it, your risk doubles or triples. I once treated 2 brothers, both diagnosed at age 60. Their father had also died of prostate cancer. Genetics flows like a river carrying illnesses through generations. B. Male hormones, testosterone. The prostate grows under the influence of testosterone. When testosterone stimulates excessively, some cells can become abnormal, dividing faster. That's why advanced prostate cancer treatments often focus on lowering testosterone to starve the tumor. C. Aging. This is the factor no one escapes. As we age, cells are more likely to make mistakes when dividing. Like an old computer, after years of running it, develops software errors. In the U.S., more than 60% of prostate cancers occur in men over 65. D. Lifestyle and environment. Too much red meat, animal fat, charred food raises risk. Smoking alcohol damages cell DNA. Lack of exercise, obesity, disrupts hormones, raises estrogen, lowers healthy testosterone. Pollution, chemicals, heavy metals, silent enemies. One patient of mine, a Larry 72, had worked in the chemical industry. When he was diagnosed, he told me, "Doctor, for 40 years, I lived with chemicals, never knowing they were quietly destroying me." Step 3. The process of cancer formation, step by step. Let me show you through a simple story. At first in the prostate, a few cells develop DNA errors. Usually the body repairs them, but sometimes the repair fails. The error stays. Step 1. Mutation. A cell develops a genetic error. Step 2. Abnormal growth. That cell begins dividing more than usual. Step 3. Precancer lesion called PIN, prostatic intraepithelial neoplasia. Think of it as an early warning sign. Step 4. Tumor. Cells keep multiplying, forming a lump inside the prostate. Step 5. Invasion. The tumor breaks through the prostate's capsule into nearby tissue. Step 6. Metastasis. Cells travel via blood and lymph, often to bones, especially pelvis and spine. This is the silent but dangerous journey from a normal cell to cancer. 4. A philosophical view. The betrayal of a cell. Sometimes I think of cancer as betrayal. Cells that were born to serve the body suddenly turn their backs, living only for themselves, draining nutrients, destroying their surroundings. It's like a society where some no longer follow rules, only caring for themselves. Balance is broken. But in another sense, cancer reminds us that life has limits. No matter how marvelous the body, it still makes mistakes. The important thing is to detect those mistakes early, fix them in time, and live in ways that lower the risks. 5. Lessons from patients. Reality stronger than theory. A patient of mine, Thomas 74, once said, "I never thought my daily barbecue habit would play a part in bringing me here. I always thought disease was just fate, but now I see most of it came from how I lived." His words stay with me. They prove that cancer doesn't come from one cause, but from many. Genetics, hormones, aging, environment, lifestyle. And among them, lifestyle is the one we can control. Have you ever thought of your body like a car? When new, it runs smoothly. But over time, without maintenance, without oil changes, without checkups, parts wear out and fail. Prostate cancer is the same. It forms from tiny technical errors in cells worsened by outside forces. The good news is we are not helpless. We can prevent much of it with healthy living, regular checkups, early detection. So you see, my dear friend, prostate cancer does not simply appear out of nowhere. It is the result of many combined factors: genes, hormones, age, lifestyle, environment. It begins in tiny cells, but when unchecked, becomes a rebellion in the body. And when we understand this process, we see that prevention is not far away. It starts with small daily choices: a meal rich in vegetables, a habit of exercise, a routine health check. So, how dangerous is prostate cancer? My dear friend, when we hear the word cancer, most of us hear alarm bells: danger, death, helplessness. But here's the paradox: prostate cancer is both one of the most controllable cancers and also one of the most frightening, depending on when it's found, what type it is, and how we face it. A story to begin: two different fates. I remember two patients who came to me in the same month. The first was Henry, 72. His prostate cancer was found during a routine checkup. Elevated PSA biopsy confirmed the tumor was still localized, Gleason score low. We advised early treatment. 3 years later, he was still healthy, fishing every week, laughing. "Doctor, I thought I lost all hope, but here I am, still enjoying life." The second was Albert, 68. He had urinary problems for years, but thought it was just aging. Only when back pain became unbearable did he see a doctor. Bone scans showed cancer had spread to his spine, even causing a fracture. With tears in his eyes, he said, "If only I had come sooner." Two men, two destinies. Same disease, but one lives many more healthy years, while the other faces pain, radiation, drugs, and a shortened future. This shows us the danger of prostate cancer isn't always the same. It depends on many factors. 1. Dangerous because it's silent. In early stages, prostate cancer often causes no clear symptoms. Men urinate, normally, live daily life. By the time symptoms appear, difficulty urinating, frequent urination, bone pain, the disease is often advanced. This silence tricks people into thinking they're fine, making them miss the golden chance for cure. 2. Dangerous because of metastasis. Once beyond the prostate, cancer cells can spread via blood and lymph. Bone metastasis, back pain, hip pain, fractures. Pelvic lymph nodes, swelling, leg edema. Lung, liver metastasis, rapid decline. One patient told me, "Doctor, I don't feel like myself anymore. I'm exhausted, aching everywhere, as if this body isn't mine." 3. Dangerous because it strikes at manhood. The prostate is tied to male identity, sexual function, fertility. Treatments can cause osteoerectile dysfunction, osteourinary incontinence, lower testosterone, loss of desire, fatigue. For many, the emotional pain is worse than the physical, losing strength and confidence. One 70-year-old told me, "Doctor, I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of living without being a man." 4. Dangerous because of family and social burden. Prostate cancer is never just one man's disease. It affects families. Wives losing sleep with worry. Children setting aside careers to give care. Sector costs tens of thousands of dollars each year, insurance or not. Research shows average treatment in the U.S. can cost $40, $1,000, $100, $1,000 in the first 5 years. For many families, that is crushing. 5. Dangerous because of recurrence and resistance. Even after treatment, cancer can return. Some have surgery, PSA drops, they think they're cured. A few years later, PSA rises again. Some respond to hormone therapy at first, but later the tumor becomes resistant, growing anyway. This is the cat and mouse game between medicine and cancer. 6. Dangerous because of the patient's mind. Fear itself can be deadly. Some fall into depression, losing will to fight. Some refuse treatment, thinking I'll die anyway. Some isolate from family and friends out of shame. I believe treating cancer isn't only giving medicine, it's healing the soul. 7. A philosophical view. Life's fragility. Prostate cancer has taught me much. It reminds me life is fragile. A man who seemed healthy, a father, a grandfather, can have his world changed by one blood test. Yet it also taught me hope. I've seen men who looked hopeless live many more years because of faith, family, and healthy choices. 8. So how dangerous is prostate cancer? The answer: dangerous, but not always a death sentence. Found early, 5-year survival over 95%. Found late with metastasis, survival drops below 30%. The greatest danger is not the cancer itself, but delay. Delay in going to the doctor, delay in recognizing, delay in acting. Let me ask you, how long has it been since your last checkup? Have you ever thought, I'm healthy, I don't need it? If yes, remember Henry and Albert. One went early, one delayed. One lived well, one suffered. Who do you want to be? My dear friend, prostate cancer is dangerous because it's silent, because it can spread, because it affects body, spirit, family, and society. But it's not the end if we detect it early and act in time. What I want you to remember is, don't underestimate it, but don't fear it too much. See it as a reminder to value health, to get checkups, to live each day healthier. So, how can we prevent prostate cancer with food, drink, and exercise? My dear friend, when we talk about prostate cancer, many people think immediately of medicine, doctors, hospitals. But I want you to set that aside for a moment and return with me to the simple, familiar things, our daily meals and everyday lifestyle. I've worked over 30 years in cancer research and treatment, and I can tell you with certainty how we eat and live greatly influences our risk. Not everything is fate. A big part comes from our own choices. 1. A story to begin. The power of one meal. I remember a patient named Robert, 65. After early-stage prostate cancer surgery, he asked me, "Doctor, how should I eat now so it doesn't come back?" I smiled and said, "Robert, I won't hand you a strict list that takes away the joy of eating. Just remember this: every meal is medicine. It can heal or it can harm." He nodded, then began changing his diet: more vegetables, tomatoes, salmon, less red meat and fried food. 2 years later, he returned for checkup, healthy and glowing. "Doctor, I feel younger." Food really has power. 2. Foods to protect the prostate. Science shows many foods reduce prostate cancer risk. Let's walk through them. A. Tomatoes and lycopene. Tomatoes are rich in lycopene, a strong antioxidant. Research shows men who eat more cooked tomatoes, sauce juice, have lower prostate cancer risk. Lycopene acts like a shield protecting DNA. I often tell patients, have spaghetti with tomato sauce or a glass of tomato juice weekly. B. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, contains sulforaphane, which helps eliminate carcinogens. U.S. studies show men who eat them often have lower risk. C. Berries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, grapes, rich in flavonoids and anthocyanins. Powerful antioxidants. Reduce inflammation, protect DNA. A morning berry smoothie can be a natural medicine. Omega-3, rich fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel. Omega-3 reduces inflammation, balances hormones. Some research shows fish eaters have lower prostate cancer risk than heavy red meat eaters. Soy and isoflavones. Asian men who eat more soy have lower prostate cancer rates than Western men. Isoflavones may help balance male hormones. F. Green tea. Contains catechins, strong antioxidants. Amin may slow cancer cell growth. 3. Foods to limit or avoid. Alongside healthy foods, we must limit hidden enemies. Red meat and processed meat, sausages, bacon high in saturated fat promote cancer growth. Charred fried foods produce carcinogens. Refined sugar sodas increase inflammation, lower immunity. Alcohol weakens immune system, burdens liver and kidneys. I tell patients you don't need to cut them completely. Think of them as guests. Visit sometimes, but don't let them live in your kitchen. 4-year role of exercise. Nutrition is only half the story. The other half is movement. Exercise helps maintain healthy weight. Obesity raises risk. Exercise reduces inflammation, balances hormones. It also relieves stress, which otherwise weakens immunity. Recommended activities: brisk walking 30 minutes daily, cycling, swimming, yoga, heart health, stress relief. Lightweight training, maintain muscle, boost natural testosterone. I recall David 70 once sedentary. After PSA rose, he began walking 5 days a week. A year later, he lost 20 pounds, blood pressure stabilized, PSA stayed steady. He laughed, "Doctor, walking is the cheapest medicine." Role of mindset and sleep. It's not only food and exercise. Rest and mental health matter too. Sleep restores hormones, repairs immunity. Positive mood lowers stress hormones like cortisol, which can affect cancer cell growth. Research shows men who meditate or practice breathing live longer after prostate cancer treatment. 6. A philosophical view. Your body as a garden. Imagine your body as a garden. If you plant good seeds, vegetables, fruit, exercise, rest, it thrives. But if you fill it with waste, tobacco, alcohol, red meat, the garden wilts. Prostate cancer doesn't grow overnight. It takes years. And every year we choose to plant health or to plant disease. 7. Small but useful habits. How to start mornings with warm water and lemon. Add 1 extra serving of greens daily. Walk 15 minutes after dinner. Turn off screens early, sleep before 11. Take 5 minutes daily to breathe deeply. Small steps, but together they transform your health. 8. A connection with you. Have you ever thought, "I'm too old to change"? If so, remember, even small changes help. I've seen men start walking at 70 and live 15 more healthy years. I've seen smokers quit after 40 years and improve dramatically. It's never too late to care for yourself. My dear friend, preventing prostate cancer isn't distant or expensive. It's in your kitchen, in your sneakers, in the park nearby. Eat smart, drink wisely, move daily, rest peacefully. That is the strongest fortress against cancer. So, who is at high risk of prostate cancer? My dear friend, we've walked a long road together, from distinguishing between prostate enlargement and prostate cancer to understanding the different types of the disease, why it forms, and how to prevent it with nutrition and exercise. But perhaps you are now asking yourself, so who is truly at the highest risk? Am I in that group? What about my loved ones and friends? This is such an important question, because when we know we are at risk, we take screening and prevention more seriously. But when we think it will never happen to me, we often become careless and ignore the early signs. On a story to begin, 2 best friends. I once met 2 men, best friends since high school, both 67, both living in the same city. One was John, the other Peter. John's father and brother had both suffered from prostate cancer. Since he was 50, he went for annual screenings. At 63, his doctor found his PSA was high. A biopsy confirmed early-stage prostate cancer. Because it was caught early, he was treated successfully and is still healthy today. Peter was different. No one in his family had the disease. He thought he was out of danger. At 67, when back pain and urinary problems appeared, he finally went for a checkup. The results: prostate cancer that had already spread to his bones. Their story stays with me, knowing your risk is not to create fear, but to prepare and to act. 2. Age, the factor no one escapes. Prostate cancer rarely happens in men under 40, but the risk rises sharply after 50. In the U.S., about 60% of new cases are found in men over 65. The average age at diagnosis is 66. This means the longer we live, the more chances our cells make mistakes during division, and the higher the risk becomes. I often tell my patients we can't stop getting older, but we can choose to age with awareness. 3. Family history and genetics. If your father or brother had prostate cancer, your risk is 2 to 3 times higher. If both your father and brother had it, your risk is even greater. The cause lies in inherited genes. Mutations in genes like BRCA1, BRCA2, HOXB13 can be passed down through generations. I once treated 3 generations in one family: grandfather, father, and son, all diagnosed with prostate cancer. When I examined the son at 48, I told him, "You shouldn't wait until 55 to get screened. With this family history, you need to start earlier." It reminds us sometimes illness flows in the bloodline. 4. Raison, a truth often overlooked. In the U.S., where statistics show African American men are 1.7 times more likely to get prostate cancer compared to white men. However, they are also twice as likely to die from it. The reasons may include genetics, environment, and unequal access to healthcare. This teaches us not everyone carries the same risk. Screening strategies must be personalized. 5. Diet and lifestyle. Even without genetic risk, how we live each day matters. Men who eat lots of red meat, fried, or processed foods face higher risk. Lack of exercise, obesity, higher estrogen, lower healthy testosterone, greater risk. Frequent smoking and drinking, damaged DNA weaken the body. I remember a patient named Charles, 70. He loved barbecue and beer, rarely touched vegetables. When he was diagnosed, he smiled sadly. Maybe this is the price of my careless living. 6. Other medical conditions. Research shows men with chronic prostatitis may face higher risk. Those with metabolic syndrome, belly fat, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure are also more vulnerable. This suggests overall health and prostate health are deeply connected. 7. Environment and occupation. Certain jobs with high exposure to chemicals, heavy metals, or radiation carry higher risks. Shidro-RME, workers in petrochemicals, agriculture with pesticides, firefighters exposed to smoke, all show higher rates of prostate cancer. 8. A philosophical view, risk as a shadow in the sunlight. I often say living means everyone has risk, just like walking under the sun means everyone has a shadow. Some shadows are long, some short, but the shadow is always there. The important thing is not to run away from the shadow, but to live with awareness. To know our risks, not to live in fear, but to act wisely. 9. Lessons from patients, facing risk wisely. I remember Frank, 55. His father had died of prostate cancer. When he came to me, he said, "Doctor, I know I'm at risk, so I want to start screening early. I don't want to repeat my father's tragedy." And indeed, at 58, his PSA rose, and we found early-stage prostate cancer. Because we caught it, early treatment succeeded. Now he still enjoys walking with his granddaughter every evening. Others, knowing they were at risk, chose to ignore it. And when they finally came, the cancer had already spread. 2 attitudes, 2 outcomes. Have you ever asked yourself, am I in the high-risk group? If you're over 50, you already have some risk. If you're over 65, your risk is higher. If your family has a history, your risk increases even more. If your lifestyle is unhealthy, poor diet, little exercise, smoking, drinking, your risk rises further. But instead of fear, I want you to see this as a reminder. Knowing your risk doesn't mean accepting fate. It means you have the chance to act early to protect your health, to live longer with your family. So, if diagnosed with prostate cancer, treatment options, success rates, and life after treatment, my dear friend, by now you may be asking, if one day I or someone I love is diagnosed with prostate cancer, what do I do? Do I still have hope? Will treatment work, and what will life look like afterward? These are questions I've heard thousands of times over more than 30 years of work. Each time I see the worry, the fear, and sometimes despair in the eyes of patients and their families. Let me share with you, not just as a doctor with medical knowledge, but as someone who has walked this journey alongside many. 1. A story to begin, the moment of diagnosis. I remember William, 64. When I said, "You have prostate cancer," he sat in silence for a long time. Then he whispered, "Doctor, is this the end?" I held his hand and said, "No, William. This is not a period, it's a comma, the start of a new chapter. And this chapter, if you walk it with us, can still be full of hope." The first thing I want you to remember, if caught early, prostate cancer has a cure rate over 95%. 2. Treatment options, not just one path. When facing cancer, many think there's only one option. In reality, there are many depending on stage, type, age, and overall health. A. Active surveillance. For men with small tumors, low Gleason, low PSA. Instead of immediate treatment, doctors monitor with PSA tests, MRI biopsy. If it doesn't progress, patients avoid side effects of treatment. One of my patients, 78, had a small tumor, low PSA. We monitored him for 7 years and he stayed healthy without surgery or radiation. B. Radical prostatectomy. When a common and early stage disease, can be open surgery, laparoscopic, or robotic Da Vinci. Advantage: removes the tumor entirely if localized. Risk: incontinence, erectile dysfunction. C. Radiation therapy. Uses high-energy beams to kill cancer cells. External beam or brachytherapy, placing radioactive seeds inside the prostate. In was effective as surgery for early stages. D. Hormone therapy, androgen deprivation therapy, ADT. Since prostate cancer grows with testosterone, lowering testosterone starves the tumor. Options: injections, pills, or orchiectomy, removing testicles. Used for advanced metastatic or recurrent disease. E. Chemotherapy. Suricure, for hormone-resistant or widespread disease. Extends life, relieves symptoms. F. Immunotherapy and targeted therapy. Newer approaches training the immune system to attack cancer. Drugs like Sipuleucel T or PARP inhibitors for BRCA mutations. 3. Success rates, the numbers. Stage 1-2 localized 5-year survival, 95%. Stage 3 locally advanced 5-year survival, 70-80%. Stage 4 metastatic 5-year survival, 30%. Once again, early detection is the key. 4. Life after treatment, what no one tells you. Many focus only on cure, but not on what comes after. Honesty helps patients prepare. Erectile dysfunction from nerve damage. Incontinence, leakage when coughing, laughing, moving. Somakuti, fatigue, hot flashes, osteoporosis from long-term hormone therapy. Psychological effects, loss of confidence, depression, anxiety. I recall George 70 after surgery. He felt sad, less of a man. I told him, George, you are still a man because your worth isn't in one organ, but in your heart, your love, and your presence with your family. He cried. Sometimes medicine heals not just the body, but the soul. 5. A philosophical view. Illness isn't the end. Prostate cancer taught me that disease doesn't always come to steal life, but to remind us to live fully. I've seen men transform after diagnosis, eating better, exercising, cherishing family. Many said without cancer, I might never have truly lived. 6. Advice from real experience. If one day you or a loved one is diagnosed, don't panic. Learn the stage, seek multiple opinions. Ask about all options, not just one. Children, prepare for life changes and lean on family and community. Hold on to hope. Medicine has advanced and many live long, meaningful lives, even with cancer. Sodarif Serm. Shubrim was 7. Connecting with you. Have you thought cancer means death? If so, I hope now you see it differently. Prostate cancer, when caught early, is curable. Even in advanced stages, there are treatments that extend and improve life. The real question is not what disease you have, but how you choose to face it. My dear friend, prostate cancer may be frightening, but it is not the end. There are many treatments, many paths. Success depends on early detection, the right choice of treatment, and above all, your attitude toward life. Never forget, disease may take health, but it cannot take away your faith, your love, or your will to live. And now, the final advice: prevention, screening, vaccines, and keeping faith. My dear friend, we've walked a long journey together. From distinguishing between enlargement and prostate cancer, understanding the types, reasons why it forms, its dangers, to the treatment options. And now, before closing, I want to sit with you calmly and share my final advice. This isn't just medical knowledge. It's wisdom drawn from decades of experience with thousands of patients. These lessons can be your guide for you and your loved ones. Not just to live long, but to live well and meaningfully. 1. Prevention, power in simple things. You've heard the saying, prevention is better than cure. Nowhere is it more true than with prostate cancer. We can't change age or genes, but we can change how we live each day. Eat more vegetables, fruit, fish. Cut down red meat and fried foods. Drink water, limit alcohol, quit smoking. Shrink and exercise regularly, keep a healthy weight. Yemrain, sleep well, stay positive. I recall David, 74. After losing his wife to cancer, he transformed his life, healthy eating, yoga, meditation. At 82, he's thriving. He often says, I can't change the past, but I can plant good seeds for the present and the future. 2. Screening, the golden key to saving lives. If I could give just one piece of advice, it would be this: get screened. Early-stage prostate cancer often has no symptoms. Only screening finds it. IBRAS PSA blood tests, simple, quick. Digital rectal exam, uncomfortable but essential. MRI or biopsy, if needed for confirmation. In the U.S. Cancer Societies recommend men from 50 discuss screening with their doctor. High-risk men, family history. African Americans start at 45, even 40. I've seen men save simply because of one routine checkup. One small blood test can add years of life. 3. Vaccines, new hope in medicine. It may surprise you to hear cancer vaccine, but it's real. Today, immunotherapy vaccines like Sipuleucel T exist for advanced prostate cancer. They help the immune system recognize and attack cancer cells. Though not yet for all men like flu or COVID vaccines, it opens a new era, a future where our own immune system can prevent disease. I tell patients tomorrow's medicine will be better than today. Live long enough to benefit from it. 4. Keep faith, the hidden strength. In my years, I've seen two kinds of patients. Those who collapse when they hear the word cancer. Those who hold on to faith see it as a challenge, not an end. And the truth. The second group lives longer, healthier, even when science can't fully explain it. I recall Patrick, 69, with bone metastasis. When I explained, he smiled, "Doctor, I still have a granddaughter waiting for me to take her to the park. I can't give up." He lived 7 more years, far beyond prognosis. Faith isn't magic, it's a hidden medicine, boosting immunity, strengthening the body's fight. 5. A philosophical view. Cancer is a strict teacher. At first I thought cancer was only an enemy, but over time I saw it as a teacher. It reminds us life is finite. It tells us to care for our health, to cherish family, to love ourselves more. Many patients said, "Without cancer, I might never have valued each day." So painful as it is, cancer brings a lesson live fully while you can. 6. A message for you. If you're watching this, you may be worried about your health or a loved one's. Pause, breathe, and remember. You are not alone. Millions of men walk this journey. You are not powerless. Medicine has advanced greatly. You can control much diet, lifestyle, screening. Promise me one thing after this video: schedule a checkup. Make it a gift to yourself and your family. Health isn't only about medicine, it's about community. In support groups, patients share and find strength together. I hope you'll share this message with friends, with men around you. Your reminder may save a life. 7. Community message. When one man is healthy, the whole family is safe. Prostate cancer isn't one man's disease, it affects families. When a father is healthy, children feel secure. When a husband is healthy, a wife finds peace. When a grandfather is healthy, grandchildren find joy. So caring for your prostate isn't just for yourself, it's a gift to your family. Imagine this: today you go for screening. Caught early, treated in time, you gain years. Years to walk with your wife, to see your grandchild graduate, to sip coffee with old friends. Isn't that priceless? 8. Break the silence. Speak of men's health. In many cultures, men stay silent about health. They hide, endure, even ignore disease. But silence never helps. I've seen men come too late, ashamed to talk about urination, sexual health, or the prostate. They feared weakness, losing face. I say this: talking about health isn't weakness, it's courage. A man who faces truth, seeks help, gets treated. That's true strength. 9. Faith, the red thread throughout. I've told you many patient stories. Some lived years longer through faith. Some fought bravely to the end, leaving lessons of courage. Faith doesn't deny reality. It reminds us that even with cancer, we still have value, love, dreams. And that's enough to keep going. 10. A final note for you. You may be 50, 60, 70. You may fear the word cancer, but remember, you can prevent it with lifestyle. Ephraim, you can detect it early with screening. You can treat it successfully if caught. And above all, you can live meaningfully each day with faith. Promise me this: after this video, call your doctor. Book that appointment. Make it a gift for yourself and family. 11. A call to community. If this video helps you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Spread the message. Prostate cancer can be prevented, found early, treated successfully. Every man over 50 deserves to know this. Sometimes one shared video saves a life. 12. A philosophical view. Health is connection. In 30+ years, I've learned health isn't just personal. It connects us. When I'm healthy, I care for my family. When you're healthy, you bring energy to the community. And when the community is healthy, society thrives. This journey isn't just fighting cancer. It's building a strong, loving, connected world. Picture this: a summer afternoon in the park. A 70-year-old man walks, holding his granddaughter's hand, smiling. He's healthy because years earlier he chose screening, chose a healthy lifestyle, chose faith. Don't you want to be that man? I believe you do. And it starts today with small, meaningful choices. My dear friend, prostate cancer isn't a death sentence. It's a reminder, a chance to live awake, to live with meaning, to share goodness with others. Prevent it. Screen for it. Keep faith. Spread the message. Because when one man is healthy, the family is safe. And when many men are healthy, society is at peace. If you've watched this far, something inside you has been touched. Maybe concern for your health, maybe love for family. Don't keep it to yourself. Like this video to spread hope. Subscribe to the channel for more meaningful health stories. And most importantly, share this video. Your click may save a man's life. Remember, when one is healthy, the family is safe. When communities act, society is stronger. Thank you for joining me. Let's plant seeds of health, faith, and life together.